What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Anything But ASIC, and it's been a while. It's been a while, definitely been a while, and we're here for right before the Bitcoin halving. I think we got a nice hash here. We got 13 minutes, 13 minutes for the Bitcoin halving. Oh, it's already happened. Well, you know, I guess I'm late. Let's see what happened. Anything happen? Uh, the coin gecko. Okay. We had a dip, 60K, bumped up a couple hours ago, and 64K, and it's just sitting there. I didn't think anything was going to happen spectacular, but it's nice to know we're finally here, and rich stuff comes tonight. What happens? What happens from here now on? 3 Bitcoin be given out, but if you're in Monero land. If you're Monero land, you've been getting 1 Monero for the longest because Monero's been on the right path from the beginning. So, talking about Bitcoin, let's see. We're talking about Bitcoin. The Bitcoin halvings here. Possible mining outcomes. Possible mining outcomes for Bitcoin right now. Is the price going to spike? Well, we'll find out. Probably by the end of the week, we'll find out if the price will spike any higher as people try to gather it. I don't think mining less equates to people buying more. I think we're at the high, considering that if you go all the way back a good year, Bitcoin was at 30K, so more than double the price. So I think people loaded up way back here at 30K if they were going to load up. So, I don't think the price is going to spike. I think the price is going to subside, and we're going to go exactly upside down from here. Let's see. And can Bitmain come out with better equipment? Well, Bitmain right now, whether we're going to 5 nanometers, everybody's at the 5 nanometer. As far as everybody knows, there's the 3 nanometer. I've even heard a rumor of a 1 nanometer out there, but that's just a rumor. I'm sure somebody has it. But I'm assuming they're going to be super fragile, super hard to get, and they're not coming to a consumer anytime soon. We're going to see over the next, 3-4 years, instead of there being just super high processing, super dense power cores, ASIC cores. I think it's going to be a stack and pack. Stack and pack and revise the software like they've done before. Like after 2017, where they brought basically what was the S7s and they turned them into the A9s. It was basically a stack and pack and revise of the software to make what essentially was outdated somewhat viable. And I'm pretty sure somebody somewhere still running those S7s because, well, they probably get free electricity. And it didn't really matter because the equipment's probably dirt cheap right now. It's probably dirt cheap then. So that's it. Bitcoin is halved. Let's look at it, witness it, what was happening today. Were you here? Were you looking? If not, whatever. Talking about what you see on the screen, my dirty Monero node. I'll talk about that later. We're going to talk about Monero. I did say I'll get back to Monero. And Monero, has it been taken over? Now, when I consider a coin taken over is when the coins, as you can see here, when the coins all do the same thing at the same time. And Monero looks like, where is it? It's dropped a little bit, but it's going with the flow, and I think Monero's had enough weak hands to sell to the exchanges that the community is no longer in control. And we do for a year, actually, up until about, we've seen the Bitcoin chart, up until about around here, it was doing its own thing. It was doing great. But now, I'm not so sure. It's following Bitcoin now. I think too many people sold, and when this big dip happened down to, what was that, 102? It's 104, 102. I'm saying 102. I know it was 102. The big dip happened to 102. I think a lot of people got scared and sold. Yeah, the weekends they sold to the exchanges, tried to get out, thinking Monero was going to crash into the floor, and that the boogs, the glowies, have finally caught up. And that probably is not the case, but hey, we'll find out. What is doing well is go back out. I didn't expect to come out. I'm not promoting it in any way. Was Neo? Neo was having a pretty good comeback there. Yeah, Neo was having a pretty good comeback there, coming from the gallows boosting up, and being the platform that's supposed to combat Ethereum. Nah, it's just following Bitcoin. It's just following Bitcoin. It was doing good there, though. It was good there. Ethereum itself, once again, is following Bitcoin. It's kind of doing its own thing, kind of not. There's nothing really out here that you can really trade into that's not following Bitcoin that's popular. You could go way back to the thousands, the 1,000 ranks, the really lower ranks, the mid caps. Well, not any mid caps or lower caps. You might find something, and maybe, but for the most part, Bitcoin's halved. I think Walnero has taken over for Bitcoin. There's supposed to be a what do you call it? A new a new daemon. It's supposed to be an upgrade coming here soon with Walnero, if I seem to know correctly. But you go to some Monero spaces, and you're starting to see Walnero pop up a lot more. Let's see. Atomic swaps. So yeah, about those. We thought those would get them, or at least get Monero out of the trenches, but that's not the case. Let's see. How to exchange atomic swaps. Hold on. Anyways, there was an atomic swap exchange where Walnero was definitely included. I can't remember which one. Anyways, I'm personally starting to see Walnero kind of creep into the Monero space. I think Walnero will be taking, not over, but it will take over for basically Aeon. Nobody's really talked about Aeon forever, even though Aeon's doing, it's fairly stable. But I think Walnero is going to take over as Monero Lite, as Monero kind of fades into the background. It's kind of being used, it's kind of not. Let's see, looking at Walnero. Wow. Now, Walnero had a pretty good leg here coming up. It was a little spike. It was doing all right. It was doing a lot better a month ago. And if you get off the train at 20 cents, you weren't making it. I mean, this is pretty good. Coming from 3 cents all the way up to 20 cents. That's a pretty good rip, honestly. What was this, back in March? March was it. March was just it. Now, I do think Monero, being that the circulating supply is not even half of the Monero, has a long way to grow, has a long way to go. I'm going to continue kind of DCAing into it, trading. I want to see if there's any, atomic swaps from Monero into Walnero. But yeah, I'm going to keep DCAing into it. Until then, I'm just going to be running my node. Let's check out the node. I call this the dirty duct tape node. And it's sitting on my desk, and I've gotten it somewhat automated with systemd. And systemd has its own host of issues. If you know, you know. As this whole has a whole host of issues itself. But yeah, for at least the automated script for the daemon, I got it set to a bash script in the daemon, and this should work. This has been working for me for the automated Monero node I have. So, you know, it should work. It should work. Control. Let me get out of here. Let's see. So I got Monero running, and it's a little bit of history on this. I'm sure you guys, if you've seen some of my earlier videos, this is from way back when. I think I bought this around 2018, 19. And back then, this is Android TV box. And back then, this is when Android was, well, ARM processors were really going for it in the consumer market. This is a 8-core, Amlogic S912 with 3 gigs of RAM, and it's like I said, it's been a while. The community's been working on it. Well, let's just say one person's been working on the repositories, and finally, 5 years later, things are starting to come together. And in order to get this working, it was catc. Let me look this up. Is this running catc Vim2? Vim2's firmware. Catc Vim2's firmware from Armbian, which is basically the same thing. I even had what was it? Wi-Fi and Bluetooth working, which was cool. I didn't expect that. So, this was all good. Everything worked out. I don't know how to get the GPI, so I wasn't looking at it for that. This is just excess hardware that I had laying around. So, it's not even brave. This is just excess hardware I had laying around. So, for it to just be a Monero node sitting in the back of a closet, spinning its fan, duct taped on it, I think it's going to work out. I'm going to mine with it, but I don't expect to get anything. Maybe it might get something, maybe it won't. We'll see. But until then, let me know. Let me know. Do you think Bitmain will make what we're on an S21, an S23? Do you think an S23 is around the corner? Do you think Monero will take over for Monero? And do you think Monero is done? Do you think the weak hands have sold them out to the exchanges to the point where it's just going to follow Bitcoin from now on? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys hopefully soon.